take a very quick break, and I'll be back in just a moment. Our Super Tuesday coverage continues here on N2, and we're glad you're with us.
I love it.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think the microphone volume might have been a little low, so I'm bumping that up a bit. Okay.
And I said, well, why aren't we giving a person that's terminally ill, why aren't we giving them some of this medicine? Maybe it'll work. And it was a very hard thing, actually. It sounds easy, but it wasn't, because the insurance companies didn't want it for obvious reasons. The medical companies and labs didn't want it because if it doesn't work, and people are terminally ill. And I worked a deal where you don't have to put it down here. You can put it down on a separate list. In other words, so it won't look bad on your so-called report card. And I got the insurance companies to put, you sign a document, you're not going to ever sue the country, you're not going to sue, and you have access. Instead of going to Asia or going to Europe or going wherever you may go, or going home and dying if you have no money. A lot of people can't go to Asia, Europe to seek a cure. And we are saving thousands and thousands of lives. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about winning that popular vote. How would that make you feel to win the popular vote?
Well, look, we have a couple of problems in this country. Number one, mail-in voting. Mail-in voting will always be dishonest, okay? And it's a shame that we have it. Jimmy Carter did a report along with a couple of other senators that were respected, Democrats, Republicans. It was like a commission. And the end result of the report was never go to mail-in voting. It will always be dishonest. That was a long time ago. France fairly recently switched from mail-in voting to one-day paper ballots, voter ID. Very simple. One-day voting. I mean, these elections where they take 61 days and then they want an extension. And, they use machines to count it fast, but nobody ever had they last weeks longer. And then you wonder what's happening and how come that material was moved and it was there and where is it now? Now, we have to have fair elections. We need two things very strongly. We need fair elections and free elections, and we need borders. If a country doesn't have borders, you're not a country. And we really don't have either. But when you have mail-in voting, think of what the process is. They send an envelope to someplace. I mean, so many people complain. They get 7 or 8 votes. Some don't complain. Some just send them back in, right? But they get many votes. They get many ballots. And many of them sign them. They just keep signing them. And who's bringing them there? Who's bringing them back? What happens in the meantime? Are they sold? Because ballots are sold during this process. People are selling them that are delivering them. So many bad things happen. I think that, I went to California, I had this massive crowd. I said, why would I lose California? Automatically, because you're a Republican. Why would I lose California? Look at this crowd. It's as big as we've ever had. Or New York. I think I'd do well in New York if we had everything was on the up and up. And by the way, we're putting a heavy move on New York because New York is not the same place. New York was unhappy 3 years ago, but New York is really unhappy now.
Yeah. Well,
and I think we can do Lee Zeldin. Lee Zeldin did a good job.
I think you're right.
It's a lot worse now.
Yeah. Well, let's getting back to the latest New York Times poll. Aside from your biggest lead ever in the national popular vote, is Biden is 25 points down from his 2020 numbers, with working class minority voters without college degrees. It showed up you winning Hispanic voters 46 to 40. It also showed you winning 23% of black voters. Now you've gained black voters than you had in 2020. What does that make you feel to really get down in the inner cities and show these demos that your policies will promote them despite what the Democrats would say?
So it makes me feel great. Like, as an example, with black voters, Romney got 4 or 5%. Mitt Romney, okay? I'm not a big fan of his, by the way. He got 4 or 5. But I did a lot of things like criminal justice reform, opportunity zones and cities with Tim Scott, who's fantastic, by the way. And I tell Tim all the time, you know, he ran as a candidate and he did fine. But as my surrogate, he's unbelievable. I said, you do a much better job fighting for me than you did fighting for yourself. He said, I always had trouble fighting for myself, but I like to fight for people that I think can do a great job. He's great. But we did things that were incredible. Criminal justice reform couldn't have been done. They came to see me, a group of people, and they were crying. Can I have help? Yeah. They were crying. And I was able to get conservatives to go along with it, and we got criminal justice reform. And I will tell you, the group that most wanted it was the black population, because, you know, it's pretty rough stuff what's been happening if you look at sentencing and sentencing guidelines, et cetera. So I got criminal justice reform. We did so much. Historically, if you look at the colleges, so you have colleges and universities, black. They would come to see me, the heads of these colleges, and I got to know some of them. But the first year they came to see, I said, what are you guys doing here? We came to get money from Congress because we can't run our schools if we don't. Oh. Next year, the same group came. They said, yeah, we're here to get money. I said, wait a minute, do you do this every year? And they said, yeah, we do this every year. We have to. And one of them said to me, it was bad. He said, I feel like a beggar because they make us come back every year. This is the Democrats. And I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to sit down. You're going to tell me what you need. And we're going to do a long-term plan for you. And I got them done with a long-term plan. And I added 20% to the number that they asked for. And they loved me. I said, the only problem I'm going to have is I've gotten to like some of you guys, and I'll never see you again, probably. But you know what? I took care of them. And now you have your black colleges and universities are well-funded because of me. They were never going to get it. They were never going to get that.
Yeah. And those are things that the mainstream media won't tell voters. You know, they really hide a lot of the accomplishments you had during your 2016 administration. You did help out the black voters and Hispanic voters. Hispanics were making higher wages than they've ever made.
They had the best 4 years they've ever had. Very entrepreneurial people. Very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
But it's true.
So
they're amazing and very entrepreneurial. In fact, I don't even want to do business deals with these people. They're too good. But, you know, they had the best 4 years, a lot of small businesses, and they had the best 4 years they've ever had. So everybody did, every group.
So you feel like this time you're making some really good inroads?
I do, and the big thing is we have to stop the cheating. I don't need votes. We have all the votes we need. We have to stop the cheating. Because I actually think we would win the popular vote if God came down and was your vote counter, where it would be honest. I think we win the popular vote. But they've cheated for years. Look, who can win with open borders, with high interest rates, you can't buy a home, with woke military? We defeated ISIS. We got rid of the worst terrorists in the world. We did things, and we had no wars. I got into no wars. Everybody said, I remember Hillary Clinton during a debate, she said, look at this man. He's going to cause wars. Look at his attitude. Look at his fresh mouth. I said, no, my fresh mouth is going to keep us out of wars. And that's what happened. Yeah. That's what happened. So we had no wars, but we defeated ISIS. Think of it. Yeah. We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks, and it was supposed to take 4 or 5 years. I went to Iraq, and I met with a lot of different generals, but one named Raisin Cain. I said, you're my kind of guy. If that's General Raisin Cain. We went in, we wiped them out, and we did it fast. We have I tell that story tonight because we have the greatest military in the world. But we have a lot of people that want to be politically correct, or they don't know what they're doing, or they're weak, or they're stupid. But we have the greatest military in the world. And don't worry about the woke that you hear, because it's just, they do want it. I got rid of a lot of people that taught woke. They were making $400,000 a year, $500,000. They were getting paid a fortune. I fired them all. But when Biden came back, he hired them back. But the military is tough, and they're not going woke.
Yeah, they're not going woke. I said this earlier about whoever's in control of Congress in January 2025 will control and rewrite the tax codes that everyone is benefiting from you right now. Let's talk about taxes. Let's talk about people keeping more of their money and how important that is to achieve the American dream.
So I'm very proud to say that I got the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, bigger than Ronald Reagan tax cuts, which were very big, but substantially bigger. And that's one of the things, I think, between that and the regulation cuts, where you didn't have to go through, years of study to find out that that's a piece of dirt and there's no problem, okay? I mean, it was the craziest thing. And we did regulation cuts larger than any other president has ever done, by double or triple. And I think that was actually more important. It's interesting. I was with a big businessman the other day. I said, what was better for you, the tax cuts or the regulation cuts? He said, it's not close, the regulation cuts. That's why we had the best job numbers that this country has ever had. We had the best job numbers that we ever had. And regulation cuts and tax cuts. So with the taxes, you could keep your money. You were spending less money. And the funny thing is, everyone said, oh, you cut them too much, you're not going to take in the revenues. We had, right after the tax cuts, we had the largest number of, in terms of revenue, we had the biggest revenues, the greatest revenues that the country's ever had, because people were incentivized. They were incentivized to go and work and everything else. Now, the Democrats want to raise your taxes by 4 times. And I don't know if people know it. It used to be that if you could cut taxes, you were a pretty good politician, you were going to get elected. We're living in a different time. They want to raise your taxes, and they think that's good politics. So they want to raise your taxes. They want to give you lousy education. They want to give you very unsafe streets. All of these things. And they want to have open borders. Open borders. You can't have the open borders. So I think we're on a path to get tremendous numbers of votes. Yeah, and the enthusiasm, as you said, and as some of your people just said, there has never been, I don't think in any campaign, people say, I have veterans that have been with me for a while, but they've been in this business, in this world of politics for a long time. I have one that's been through many campaigns. He said, there's never been anything like what he's saying now. If we drive, we're now in Florida, if we drive 5 blocks, every house has a Trump sign in front of it. It's really a great honor, I have to tell you. It's a beautiful honor.
It's true. That's the reason why we're doing this preview show tonight, to encourage you guys tomorrow to get out and vote.
That's a Broussard here at Mar-a-Lago, live tonight in Palm Beach as we await for those election results to come in. It's Super Tuesday, and so far, a clean sweep for President Trump. You can hear the crowd behind us. They're eager, they're ready, they're happy. More numbers coming in. Hey, my home state, Trump taking Texas. I looked over at Brian Glenn because that's his home state as well. Way to go, Texas. Texas has been called for President Trump. Over 100 delegates there up for grabs tonight. So, so far so good. Look who I'm here with, my boys, my friends, 4G Auto Blue, Trump Latinos in the house. Good to see you. What a night.
What a night. It's a great night to be here. I think Trump's going to sweep 15-0. And like I said, they got him back on the ballot for good, and we're going to get Trump 2024, I feel.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Supreme Court, big ruling this week. He's on the ballot. The left can't do anything about it now because the high court ruled that he has to stay on the ballot. How's that make you feel?
Feels good. Now we're going to get to know who they're going to run here pretty soon, right? I don't think it's going to be Joe Biden. I think they were waiting to see if he was going to be on the ballot or not. So with Trump on that ballot and not coming off, they better get, their lawsuits ready to go, because I think that's all they're going to be able to do to stop Trump is to keep going at him. But he's a fighter, man.
That's why we love him. He does not give up the fight. Let's talk about these two guys right here, making moves in the music industry. Trump Latinos. I met you last week at CPAC. Big fan of yours. I just can't say enough about your music and what you're doing. Let's talk about the group name, Trump Latinos, and who you're trying to reach with your music.
Trying to reach the culture, the youth, you know what I'm saying? Trying to bring unity, that's all. And we're here today to hear Trump's victory speech.
How's it feel to be here at Mar-a-Lago on Super Tuesday? Election results are coming in, the vibe. How's it feel?
You know,
It's great. It's a live feed. Everybody's excited. He's winning.
Yep. They always told us we never make it to Mar-a-Lago, and look at us here.
You are doing great things. We're so proud of you. I'm going to show off your tattoos. In case you missed it when we showed off these tattoos at CPAC, MAGA tattoos. I love it.
MAGA, baby. MAGA, it's a movement. That's all we're trying to do. Wake up the people, wake up the youth.
Let's talk about how the chants of USA behind us. We're going to let you listen in real quick. The people here are excited at Mar-a-Lago. Let's talk about your music. What's new that's out right now? How can people find it?
You can get it on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, all over the social media. Our new song, American First, Godland, with Hottest, featuring Trump Latinos. It's everywhere.
It's all on there.
All right, make sure you download it. Let's talk
I
about
got a brand new song out too. Trump is your president. It came out last Thursday. I need everybody to go get it. Support Trump Latinos. Support Forgiato Blow.
I wasn't going to forget about you. I was getting to you next.
No, but I was like, you know, I got a song out too. hey, I got a song out too, Patriots. Don't forget me. Don't forget me. I got a song out too.
He just wasn't waiting for me to get to. He wasn't waiting his turn. Let's talk about how they can download that song, your song.
Well, anything you do for me, supporting, right? Type in Forgiato Blow on all the social medias. Make sure you're following Trump Latinos on all social media also. iTunes, Amazon. I know a lot of people, if they do watch this, say they don't support rap. Support rap. Our music is changing the culture. Our music is making the next generation of children want to support Donald Trump, want to see about family, want to support freedom. You know, we're not out here pushing the degenerate topics, degenerate music on your children. So spend that buck and support us. Nobody's paying us to make this music. We're doing it to help save America.
I'm telling you, these are some good, hard people right here. They love this country. They want what's best for this country, for the people of the country, for the children. They just want our rights preserved, and they want to save America. Forgiato, I have to mention, too, we talked about this at CPAC last week. You brought on Hadass Levy, wonderful singer. She has a new album out right now. Also can get that on iTunes, God's Land. Beautiful song. You're all in it. Go download that right now. Let's put it to the top of the charts on iTunes, God's Land. What are you seeing? Are you seeing more people wanting to transfer over or start maybe looking into what you're doing versus the rap as we knew it?
Well, at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are seeing my success that I've had and a couple other artists that have had, and we paved the way for this. And at the end of the day, you know, the fan support. And I think somebody like Hadass is needed. We need a great female artist for these girls to look up to. You know, that's a big thing. Support her. You know, we're boys. We know we're boys. And so at the end of the day, we need everyone to support us. But it's big to have a female artist out here that's speaking for the women, speaking for, you know, because counterculture likes to say no women support Donald Trump, right? He's racist, but then you got the other agenda they push that there's a lot of women out here that don't like him, that he's a womanizer or whatever in his future, in his past, whatever it was. The idea is somebody like Hadass standing up for Trump, speaking her values is a lot for Donald Trump. She's doing a great job.
She really is. I'm a huge fan of Hadass Levy. Downloaded her album. You should do it too. All of their music, they're great patriots. And I will say it again. When there's boat parades this summer for President Trump and all that fun stuff, barbecues and crawfish boils down south, whatever the case may be, it's their good patriotic music that you need to be playing on the loudspeakers. So make sure you download Forgiato Blow, Trump Latinos, Hadass Levy doing great things to save this country. Guys, so good to see you.
And make sure you guys watch RSBN. They always show us love, always put them on, and they're perfect.
They're perfect, too. We can't say enough about these guys right here, and, of course, Hadass Levy. All right, we're going to toss it back over to Brian Glenn as we await for more results to come in. Brian, what's it looking like?
All right, thank you, Vanessa. I love those guys. They are so talented. Hey, I want to talk about your skin care, talk about how to look younger. Angel Paste Miracle Cream is made with no chemicals, zero water. It will never dry out your skin, and lotions made from overseas, handcrafted right here in the USA in the great state of Texas. It's made a proprietary blend of food-grade, plant-grade, nut oils, and absolutely none of the corporate poisons. We know it's almost all natural This luxurious, rich cream will smooth and moisturize your skin. If you want to look younger, and I don't know who doesn't want to look younger, you got to check it out, angelpaste.com. That's angelpaste.com. One customer said this is like drops from heaven, and that is the one thing we all want, to look younger, feel better, and just live your best life. And Angel Paste can help you look like you're living your best life. So go check it out. Information for that is on your screen. Look younger, feel better. Another customer says it has healing qualities. It's all natural there. And, of course, some customers begin applying it to the skin in as little as 3 months, saw dramatic changes to their skin. Angelpaste.com. That's angelpaste.com. Now, back to the interview last night from right here from Mar-a-Lago. Here is my interview with President Trump. Listen in. We can talk about all the accomplishments from President Trump. We can talk about the policies. We can talk about how he's going to make America great again. But guess what? If you don't vote tomorrow, you don't encourage your friends, family, people at church, your neighbors, your co-workers to do it, it simply will not happen. You say this during your rallies, and I love the sign. It says, too big to rig.
Right. We want to be too big to rig. But the too big to rig, we're really thinking about November 5th. But it really does send a signal. If you can, get out to vote tomorrow. Get your husband, get your wife, get your friends, get their friends, because we want to send a signal that we're coming. This freight train's coming. And we have to do that, and we have to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow, they call it Super Tuesday for a reason. And I think it's going to be record-setting. I hope so. But that sends the signal, because what we're really doing is we're aiming at that November 5th date. And I said it at the beginning, and I'll say it now as we close up. It's going to be, I think, the most important date and day in the history of our country. We're going to take our country back. And if we don't win this next election, I think our country's finished. I really do. I think it's finished.
Yeah. So we got to act like we're down, because the Democrats want to actually drag this out. So you get out and vote, have the mindset that you are down by 70, you're not up by 70. And Republicans can stop by to turn out in big numbers, delivering big margins, so we can get this out to the rest of the company. Before you leave, I want to ask you about this Trump caucus captain hat you got here.
It's a good-looking cap, isn't it?
It is.
In fact, I wore one the other day. So this really comes out of Iowa, because they did an incredible job. We went there. It was 40 degrees below zero, by the way. 40 degrees. This was real cold. This was serious cold.
Right.
But the caucus captains were incredible. They got the people out, and we sort of do it with other places, even if it's not a caucus. It just works out well, right? Trump caucus captains. And what they've done was amazing in Iowa. And frankly, even though it wasn't a caucus, it was a primary in New Hampshire. You look at, you spoke of Nikki Haley. We went to South Carolina, where she was the governor, and we beat her in record numbers. It wasn't even a contest. And that tells you something. When somebody's not really very popular in a place that they were governor, that they ran for a pretty long period of time, but we won record numbers. What we're doing as leaders and leadership, we give this hat, and it's been sort of lucky. So I said, whether it's a caucus or a primary, let's use it anyway. It looks really good.
I like that. All right, so as we wrap it up, the key takeaway here is get out and vote, and make sure you tell all your friends and family, because right now we have to do that. You can visit DonaldJTrump.com/Super Tuesday to find a location in your voting area. All of us here would like to say thank you for your time tonight. Pretty nice. Once again, that website, DonaldJTrump.com/Super Tuesday. The information for that is on your screen tomorrow. Super Tuesday, get out and vote, and let's take this Trump train down in November and get him back in the White House. Thank you for joining us on this special occasion. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, here's a live look here at Mar-a-Lago as we get ready to continue our coverage as the results begin to come in on this Super Tuesday. And a great crowd we have here at Mar-a-Lago as a lot of supporters, some fans have come through here, obviously to support the president. And we're looking forward to we got Marjorie Taylor Greene's coming in here as well. We're glad you're joining us as we continue to coverage. Now, we've seen some states already post up. We've got Maine reporting huge leads. I mean, really, if you look across the board, it's not a matter of if Trump wins these states. I think at this point it becomes a matter of how large is that margin of victory in these states. But it is absolutely looking solid for President Trump here tonight. Coming up here in just a few minutes, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene will join me, and we'll talk about her observations from tonight, and more importantly, what we can expect under a Trump administration and how important it is for the policies to be in place in order for her to do that. All right, so we're glad you're joining us, and as always, go follow us on social media across the board at X, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're all there. You can follow me as well at Brian Glenn TV. That's Brian Glenn TV across the board on that. We're live, joined now by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, Georgia's 14th district, which I got to say here in the last few minutes, I've had more people ask me about this massive rally that President Trump's going to have in your town.
It is. We are so excited, Brian. And they just made the announcement today that President Trump will be coming to Rome, Georgia for a rally. Starts at 1 p.m. The president is set to speak at 5 p.m. And I can't even believe how many phone calls and text messages I've already received. I think all of Northwest Georgia, probably North Alabama, Tennessee. Everyone's going to be coming. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be fantastic. All right, so far we've seen President Trump taking, obviously, all of these states that are on the board right now. I think it's a matter of how big the margin is that he wins. But what's your take so far on how he's dominating the night?
He's dominating. The only person that doesn't understand that he's dominating is Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley has stayed in the race for way too long, but I think after tonight, hopefully we'll see her come to her senses and announce that she's dropping out. And I would expect her to endorse Donald J. Trump for president in the Republican primary.
And I even have some people say, now, what is it about Georgia? Because I know that it was cited just recently that Governor Kemp encourages Nikki Haley to stay in the race as long as the donors are and the funding for it. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I saw those comments today from our governor from Georgia saying that he encourages a primary, encouraging Nikki Haley to stay in as long as the donations are there. My problem with that is Nikki Haley's donations have been coming from Democrats. So I don't think we need a Democrat-funded candidate in the Republican primary. I don't think that we need a candidate in the Republican primary that's receiving so many Democrat voters. And that's what we've seen state after state, primary after primary, where there are open primaries. We have seen Democrat voters come out of the woodwork voting for Nikki Haley. And Nikki Haley won Washington, D.C. Well, that tells everyone on our side of the aisle exactly what we need to know is, number one, the swamp supports Nikki Haley. They're the ones that want her to be president. And secondly, the other important thing, Brian, is that no Republican, President Trump, January 6th defendants, pro-lifers, anyone on our side of the aisle can ever receive a fair trial in Washington, D.C. There is not a jury of our peers there.
That is true. Now, let's turn our attention to January 6th. So obviously, you've been vocal. You've been to the D.C. jail. You've been one of the only people in Congress that has stood up for the J6ers that are still incarcerated. You know, some of them haven't even been charged with a crime. Let's talk about that and how you think that plays out once a Trump presidency begins. Do you think they'll finally be able to have an opportunity to get some justice?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I think that's their only opportunity for justice. Right now, it's an unfair witch hunt against people that stood on Capitol grounds or walked into the Capitol on January 6th. There's an average of one arrest every single day to this day right now by the Department of Justice, and it's not going to end until we win. The White House and President Trump has said that he would do something about it.
Looks like we'll wait for the decision desk to officially call that, but nevertheless, they throw it up on the board here. Wins Colorado. I was joking
big,
earlier.
Though. Let's talk about how big
let's talk about that, Colorado.
Yeah, so we have the Supreme Court decision 9-0 that President Trump stays on the ballot in Colorado, and we just saw here that Colorado, what is it? I'm seeing 60% for President Trump, only 36% for Nikki Haley, calling it for President Trump.
That is huge, and of course, you know, when that 9-0 verdict came out, none of us was shocked because actually that's just going off of the law. That's not putting their political bias in this decision. So I think the Supreme Court definitely made the right decision. But what's interesting, Marjorie, is that the left was calling out those liberal female judges, calling them worthless. They're worthless. So they very much want to politicize all of this.
Oh, for sure. I saw a tweet by Keith Oberman, very nasty man, nasty Democrat man, attacks all of us constantly, where he was using the F word about the 3 liberal judges on the Supreme Court, women, by the way, and he said that liberal women are useless. So we're seeing the left eat their own. We're seeing Democrats come after their own simply for not supporting the agenda. This is the same thing that's happening where we're seeing the same Antifa-type protesters and Black Lives Matter protesters that were attacking police officers, burning and looting in the streets in 2020. Those are the same people attacking Israel today and defending Hamas. So the left is quite in disarray. They really don't know who they are anymore, and they're eating their own, and we're watching President Trump sweep state after state, and I think it's fantastic. This is exactly what I knew would happen. And I've been saying it all along, and it's great to see it happen in real time.
And I think it's really interesting how you've seen these pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas supporters march in our nation capital, march around across the country. We saw them in South Carolina. I saw them in North.
Bây giờ bầu cử toàn quốc hay là tổng thống Trump hiện nay là ông có được 297 cử tri đoàn và Nikki Haley là 47 cử tri đoàn. Ông Ron DeSantis ông 9 cử tri đoàn, ông không có còn tranh cử nữa, cũng như ông Vivek Ramaswamy thì ông có được 3 cử tri đoàn. Nó còn là 1.215 cử tri đoàn là đại diện cho đảng Cộng hòa đó để đi ra tranh cử. Bây giờ tổng thống Trump ông có được 297, chưa đến hết những cái cuộc bỏ phiếu hôm nay. Bây giờ để mình vô coi cái quận hạt Santa Clara coi nó như thế nào. Chưa có. Santa Clara thì có tất cả là 5 ứng cử viên. 2 ứng cử viên người Việt là Perry Dương cũng như là Madison Nguyễn. Thì nó chưa có đến phiếu zero nè. Chưa có đến vậy đó. giám sát viên khu vực 2. Bây giờ mà do cái quận Orange County cũng chưa có, do cái giám sát viên khu vực 1 của quận Cam đó, nó có tất cả là 5 ứng cử viên: Michael Võ, Janet Nguyễn, Văn Trần, Francis Marquez và Kimberly Hồ. Thì người Việt Nam là 4 người đảng viên đảng Cộng Hòa, và Francis Marquez là đảng Dân Chủ chỉ có 1 người. Theo mình dự đoán là cái số 1 là bà Janet Nguyễn với lại bà Francis Marquez sẽ là vô chung kết, hoặc là cái bà Francis Marquez bà sẽ có thể là thắng 50+1 luôn, khỏi cần bầu cử trong tháng 11 luôn đó. Tại vì bên đảng Dân Chủ thì cái khu vực Orange County thì hồi xưa nó là đảng Cộng Hòa, nhưng mà bây giờ thì đảng Dân Chủ nó ghi tên đông hơn đảng Cộng Hòa rồi, mà chỉ có một mình bà thôi. Còn bên xin lỗi, bà trên đảng Dân Chủ á, thì nó đông hơn đảng Cộng Hòa, mà bây giờ thì có một mình người đảng Dân Chủ họ đưa ra chỉ có một người này là nói tiếng Tây Ban Nha. Bà này cũng là một người tiến sĩ, bà này cũng giỏi lắm á. Bà cũng là vị dân cử hiện nay nhưng mà dân chức nhỏ thôi. Còn người Việt Nam thì có tới 4 người đảng Cộng Hòa hết. Thì 4 người đảng Cộng Hòa này mà nó chia phiếu ra thì nó cũng không còn bao nhiêu đâu. Thì đảng Dân Chủ á, thì thường nó bỏ theo đảng, còn đảng Cộng Hòa thì bỏ theo đảng, đó sẽ thay đổi một chút xíu thôi, nhưng mà thường nó bầu theo đảng. Nhưng mà đảng Dân Chủ thì cái khu vực Orange County hiện nay thì đảng Dân Chủ nó cao hơn đảng Cộng Hòa một tí rồi. Thành ra bà này có thể là bà thắng luôn 50+1 á. Tại người Mễ ở đây cũng rất là đông. Thì trên này cũng có trí tạ rồi trong này nè. Tí nữa sẽ đến rồi mình sẽ coi trí tạ với lại mấy cái ứng cử viên khác. Đây mình coi tiểu bang California. Thì California hiện nay thì chưa có đến phiếu. Thì California thì hiện nay thì có tổng cộng là những cái người mà nổi tiếng hiện nay đó thì ông Biden, rồi bên đảng Dân Chủ với là mấy người độc lập nữa thì chưa có đến phiếu. Bên đảng Cộng Hòa thì hiện nay thì để mình coi thố rồi. Hiện nay thì bên đảng Cộng Hòa thì chỉ có 2 người. Tuy nhiên Ryan Finley là cái người bên không chỉ còn có 2 người. Hiện nay thì bà Nikki Haley với là ông Donald Trump thôi, nhưng mà chưa có đến phiếu. Còn bên đảng Dân Chủ thì nó có 3 người. Sao không có thấy ông Kennedy ở trong này, không biết nữa. Dân biểu liên bang thì có ông này là bên thượng nghị sĩ đó của liên bang. Thì cái ông bên này là Steve Gary là cái ông mà đảng Cộng Hòa này, có 1 người, mà đảng Dân Chủ thì nó có 3 người. Barbara Lee là đại diện cho cái khu Richmond đó. Xin lỗi, cái thành phố Berkeley là với vùng lân cận. Bà này bà làm dân biểu liên bang rất là lâu. Hiện nay thì bà ra tranh cử thượng nghị sĩ thì có một người Việt Nam là đi ra tranh cử. Thế bà người Việt Nam đó là làm trong văn phòng của Barbara Lee. Đây là cái cánh tả khủng khiếp luôn. Cái này là cánh thiên tả đó, tả là tả cực tả luôn đó. Và cái người mà làm việc văn phòng của bà Baroli đó thì là bà Trần đó. Thì bà ta cũng là cánh tả đó. Bà ta đi với lại Madison Nguyễn cũng như là David Dương đi về Việt Nam, mà ông David Dương mà đi về Việt Nam đầu tư làm ăn, kêu gọi đầu tư đó. Thì bà cũng có lên cái chiếc xà lan của ông David Dương khi mà cái tháng 2 vừa qua ở San Francisco. Ông Adam Schiff cái gì cũng biết là ông này là cánh tả, là ông này là thù tổng thống Trump, là đưa ra những cái thông tin mà nó không có đúng với tổng thống Trump đó. Thì rồi cái bà Kathy Porter thì mình không có biết. Thì bây giờ hiện nay thì cái phiếu mà dẫn đầu đó thì là ông Adam Schiff là bên đảng Dân Chủ đó. Bà Barbara Lee thua theo cái poll. Còn có ông Stephen Gary, ông này là một vận động viên thể thao, thì ông này đang dẫn đầu đảng Cộng Hòa. Ở dưới này thì cũng đảng Dân Chủ. Bây giờ những cái ghế của Hạ viện của đảng Dân Chủ á, thì nó có rất là nhiều, một cái danh sách rất là dài ở đây. Thì ở trong này thì mình coi là nó không có người Việt Nam ở trong này đâu. Bây giờ trong này nó tất cả là 52 ghế 52 ghế, mà trong này là toàn là người bản xứ, người này người thôi, chứ không có người Việt Nam. Đó là dân biểu liên bang của Hoa Kỳ. Đây là của thượng nghị sĩ của tiểu bang California, là nó có tất cả là 39 ghế, tất cả là 39 ghế. Thì trong này thì không có người Việt Nam nào trong này hết. Đây nè, hết trong này không có người Việt Nam. Đây là cái ghế của dân biểu. Cái bên này là Thượng viện Hoa Kỳ, nó có 39 ghế. Còn bên Hạ viện của tiểu bang California đó thì nó có tất cả là 80 ghế. Thì có một người ở Việt Nam trong này là ông Trí Tạ này, với lại ông Phạm. Ông Trí Tạ là đại diện khu vực 70 hiện tại, là đương kim. Ông Phạm là ông này cũng luật sư đó, thì ông là đảng Dân Chủ. Ông Trí Tạ là đảng Cộng Hòa. Thì có một người ở trong này, để mình coi trên này có mình coi thông tin Việt Nam đó, có thể hơn nhé, nhưng mà để mình coi thử coi có người nào trên này người ta Việt Nam không. Có đôi lúc người ta qua đây người ta dùng tên Mỹ đó, là có chồng Mỹ luôn, mình cũng không có nhìn ra được. Thì mình chỉ biết một số dân cử mà dùng Nam Bắc California như San Jose hay là ở dưới Orange County thôi, còn ngoài ra chứ cũng vùng xa thì mình cũng không có biết rành những người Việt Nam ở đó. Trong này thì mình không thấy cái họ Việt Nam trong này hết, chỉ có ông Trí Tạ là ông Nguyễn thôi. Rồi không thấy. Mà đa số là đảng Dân Chủ nó ra nó tranh cử nhiều trong này á. Bên thì đảng Dân Chủ, bên thì đảng Cộng Hòa. Mà đảng Dân Chủ nhiều hơn, đảng Cộng Hòa ít hơn á. California thì nó bỏ phiếu trong thời gian cũng có 20 năm nay, thì đa số là cái đảng Dân Chủ nó nắm ở bên chính quyền ở California rồi. Giờ để mình trở lại cái toàn nước Mỹ rồi. Cũng chưa có thay đổi. Tổng thống Trump cũng còn được 297 và Nikki Haley là 43. Hiện nay thì theo mình thấy là cái mà Nikki Haley bà vừa thắng lên buổi Chủ nhật á, được 14 cái cử tri đoàn ở Washington DC. Bây giờ để mình qua những cái hãng thông tấn khác coi nó như thế nào. California thì nó chưa đến phiếu đó, thành ra tí nữa để mình qua cái hãng thông tấn khác mình coi nó có thì bầu cử hôm nay thì mình theo dõi á, để mình theo dõi thì là bên toàn quốc rồi California, và hai cái quận ở California là quận Nam Bắc California, tức là quận Santa Clara, nó có thành phố San Jose vô luôn đó, và bên Nam California là quận Cam. Thì đó là những cái mình sẽ theo dõi hôm nay. Còn các cái thành phố khác thì nó nhiều quá mình không có theo dõi hết được. Để mình vô NTD YouTube đó, truyền thông hãng NTD.
Let's go. Hey. for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
All right, back out here live at Mar-a-Lago. We've got about 2 minutes with Trump attorney Alina Habba to talk about the latest decision in SCOTUS and what that means to potential getting out of the clear for any more kind of legal issues.
I think it's so big. I think it means a lot to America in general, and I think that's what we need to focus on right now. America first. And SCOTUS made the right decision, as you know. We've talked about it extensively, but they made the decision that relied on the Constitution and the bedrock of this country. Instead of bringing politics into our judicial warfare, legal lawfare, they decided that there needed to be a hard line. And they even said in their opinion, which I loved, it is time for America to turn the temperature down. And we have to do that. We got to turn this temperature down. I am so happy right now to be an American. I think we're about to turn things around. Tonight's a big night for President Trump, but it's also a big night to put everything that has happened for the last 3.5 years behind us. So I'm excited.
No matter what the polls say and these legal suits come, his poll numbers go up. People show up at the polls and still vote for him.
Right.
How does it feel as his attorney to walk out of that courthouse? And I know a lot of our viewers have so much love and respect for you because you really take on the media. You don't dodge any questions.
You know why?
You
Because
take them on. Yeah.
Because I care, Brian. That's the real truth. I care. It's not a job for me. It's about my kids. It's about your kids. It's about our kids' kids. And that's all I care about. So I'm going to keep fighting every day. That's the truth.
Well, we really appreciate it. I know you got to get back to the front row because
Thank you.
President Trump's about to come out. We'll step aside. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for great, Alina Habba. Come on in. She's awesome. Thank God we have this woman fighting for us.
Yes.
She's a wonderful patriot, and I know when she said she had 2 minutes,
She literally is running in
she's
hills
not even.
right now.
Yes, she is. And if you think for 1 second that Byron Donalds came on here earlier and said, "Hey, this media riser is no joke."
He's not kidding. It is. I wish that you could see. I'm going to actually take a picture and post it on my Instagram. So if you go to Vanessa Broussard News here in a little bit, I'll post it on Instagram or Truth Social at Vanessa Broussard. The media that comes out to any Trump event, but tonight, we had to ask one of his press leads if we could have some chairs earlier because every chair is full behind the media risers because there's so many people here from the media because it's President Trump.
And this is a big riser. I mean, I've been to other events where it seems like there were more people on the media riser, but the riser was smaller. So it seemed like there was more, but really there's a lot here tonight. This media riser is a 3-tier riser, and so it's one of those things where we're just here. It's a big night for the president.
Well, Brian, this is the first presidential campaign that I have been on with Brightside Broadcasting Network, and you told me months ago, wait until 2024, and as we get closer to November, how packed it will be with media. Now, since I've started 2 years ago, there's always a lot of media surrounding President Trump, but you were absolutely right. You called it because there's a lot right now, a lot of media. All right, let's talk about our phones. We're on them a lot. Brian, there's a lot of talk about Alexa. Does Alexa listen to our conversations? Can our phones hear us? Are we being spied on?
Yes.
Well, now we can promise you that is not the case with Connecta Mobile.
That's true.
And how nice would that be? Because, Brian, true story. I could be sitting in someone's living room or around the house and think, is somebody listening to me? You just don't know with all the smart devices these days. How smart are they? We don't want anyone listening in or eavesdropping.
Nope.
So empower your digital life starting at just $35 a month with Connecta Mobile. This is what you get. Encrypted device, data and conversations, no data tracking, and a free secure phone with trade-in. So don't let your privacy be compromised. So if you're like me, you always have your phone on. If you use it for banking, for shopping, connecting with loved ones, well, we are in a world where every message could be watched and every move could be tracked on these things. So don't let that happen. Take a stand and get with Connecta Mobile right now. Secure your mobile world today. That website is phone123.com. Easy to remember. Phone123.com, or call that number on your screen, 941-300-1330.
There you go.
That's nice to have.
It is, yeah, it is, because it's very scary. I mean, just the other day, I was talking about a sciatica nerve that I have in my back, and it's down my right leg, and it was give me excruciating pain. It still does. If I sit down more than 30 seconds, I'm in pain on a scale from 7 to 10, right? But all of a sudden, the next day, I started getting ads on Instagram for lower back pain and sciatica nerve damage.
Because I feel like it listens. The same thing happens to me.
It does. It's unbelievable, and I've never searched that on the internet at all. But it served me up some ads. So thanks to those guys for keeping us up to date on that.
The beautiful Kimberly Guilfoyle has just walked in with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, let's step aside and show all that. They don't want to see us.
Yeah, they don't want to see us right now.
Bây giờ tới tiểu bang Alabama đó là nó có 50 cử tri đoàn. Tổng thống Trump ông được 83.3% và Nikki Haley chỉ có 12.9% nè. 50 cử tri đoàn á, của cái tiểu bang này.
Do they just randomly sit down? No, they have assigned seats to all of that. So once they get everyone settled, Vermont. That was the only state so far that was kind of head-to-head was Vermont. The rest of the states were a huge gap for President Trump.
Bà Nikki Haley á, cái tiểu bang Vermont đó, tiểu bang nhỏ đó. Tiểu bang nhỏ đó là tổng thống Trump là 49, bả là 47. Là gần thôi, còn hầu hết những cái tiểu bang khác á là bả thua rất là xa.
That is something that nobody wants. Our friends over at Tax Network USA want to help you get out from under the anxiety of owing back taxes. And you can simply, the information for that is on your screen. I highly encourage you to get in touch with them and be able to break that anxiety. Tax Network USA. That is Tax Network USA. I see Siggy Flicker and some other notable conservative women coming in here.
Chỉ có tiểu bang Vermont đó là tiểu bang nhỏ đó. Thì bà Nikki Haley là bà 47, tổng thống Trump là 49. Còn hầu hết những tiểu bang khác là tổng thống Trump ông bỏ rất là xa.
Back to Tax Network, I want to make sure you have that website. It's tnusa.com/RSBN. Also, the number is 1-800-357-1415, Tax Network USA. But yes, starting to have some of these notables come in. The Trump family starting to arrive.
Gia đình tổng thống Trump đang đi tới.
And as we wait, we want to also remind you to check out freetrumpbook.com. Freetrumpbook.com. Teach your children all about President Trump, all of his successes, all of his policies. They're not going to learn the truth in school. You can get it and teach that to them here at your own home. So go to freetrumpbook.com. Of course, the book is free. You do have to pay a small shipping and handling fee. But other than that, it's free. And what better way to start your kids off on the right track to loving their country? Go to freetrumpbook.com. This also makes great gifts. Easter's right around the corner. Help out the Easter Bunny. Put one of these in an Easter basket. So great gift from the Easter Bunny as well. So get your kids involved. freetrumpbook.com.
That's a great idea for Easter. That book fits perfect in a little Easter basket.
I love it.
That would be great.
All right, it is jam-packed, Brian. I'm looking down, and people are shoulder to shoulder in here, hardly any room to move. So, yeah, a good indication that President Trump will be making his way out.
Yeah, tiểu bang Oklahoma, tổng thống Trump ông là 82.5 nữa, và Nikki Haley chỉ có 15.2 à. Tiểu bang này nó có 43 cử tri đoàn.
It has been a long road since the first big election night since 20. I mean, we had the midterms. Don't get me wrong, but this is the first presidential indicator of how America feels about the direction of this country, and by them coming out in mass numbers to vote for President Trump in this Super Tuesday, in my opinion, speaks volumes. It speaks where we're at as a country and where we're at today and how people feel about things. And this is the first step. Now, we're going to have, obviously, a few more elections after this, so that some of these other states fill in. But tonight is the majority of delegates will be decided tonight. So here's the deal, and I talked about this, Vanessa, last night with President Trump. If he's able to deliver a victory tonight and take those delegates, he could actually wrap up the nomination as quick as he did in 2020 when he didn't have a competitor.
Bây giờ tiểu bang Virginia là có 48 cử tri đoàn, tổng thống Trump là 62.9 và Mistrial là 35.0, phiếu đã đếm là 95%. Đó là thua rất là cách rất là xa.
115 to win the nomination. So what's next? We have Georgia, we have Hawaii, Mississippi, Washington State. That's all coming up on March 12th. So we could be very close this time next Tuesday, where he's just, a few numbers away from clinching the nomination.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we could be right there, and it will speak volumes if he's able to do it. And you know what? Look, here's what you got to look also. Look at this for a second. If you look at the total number of votes that are coming out from the Democratic side, like when they have these races around the country, look at the number of people who voted in them. And at the end of the day, you're going to find that that Republicans are out voting a percentage than Democrats. So more Republicans are voting in this primary than Democrats. So if that would and that happened in 2020 as well. And I was amazed at the early numbers on that. We are gathering our votes together and coming out in larger numbers than Democrats. If we do that on election day, you win. It's as simple as that.
Right, and the Trump campaign is really pushing that right now, that make it too big to rig, meaning we have to show up in droves, in waves, by the numbers, just by the millions, because if the left tries to cheat, as we saw in 2020, that they want the show of support for Donald Trump to be so big that they can't rig this election. So that is their real hard push right now, Brian, is just to get the people out there. Don't listen to what the polls say. If you're in a state where he's pulling by 40 points, still go out and vote. President Trump is big on saying, pretend I'm losing in your state. We've got to get the votes out there. We've got to make sure that this election is too big to rig. And we also want to make sure that you have too big of a bank account your future. Birch Gold Group will help you get there. Make sure that you invest.
Good transition right there.
Yeah, I tried my best. Good little segue. We want you to save big for your future. We really do. We know times are tough and people are struggling right now, but the Birch Gold Group can help you. They can get you on the right path. They can help you save for yourself, for your family, for your kids, your grandkids. Text the word Trump to 989898. Again, text the word Trump to 989898. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, which is proof that their customers are satisfied. So, and they do great business. Text the word Trump to 989898. A representative will be calling you. They'll also send you a free information kit, and they'll get you on the right path for saving for your future. That's the Birch Gold Group. Invest today.
Yeah. There's a lot of gold in this room.
Yes,
I think Forgiato Blow has enough gold around his neck that the
Bây giờ tiểu bang Minnesota đã có 39 cử tri đoàn, Tổng thống Trump là 79.4% và Haley 17.8%. Cái phiếu nó bếm thì rất là ít, nói cho 0.6% thôi. Tổng thống Trump bây giờ ông lên là 326 cử tri đoàn rồi. Còn bà Nikki Haley bà cũng vẫn còn 43. Nãy giờ bà không có lên là tổng thống Trump này ông lên là 326.
Sit back a little bit and just take a deep breath and then attack May, June, July, August, September, October.
353 rồi. Tổng thống Trump ông lên là 353 cử tri đoàn á. Santa Clara chưa có đến phiếu. Orange County chưa có đến phiếu. California cũng chưa có đến phiếu.
President Trump knows exactly how to make things sparkle and shine, even on election day. This place has got it going on.
Absolutely. You're talking about marketing. You know, I've been asked several times tonight, Brian, if I purchased some of his high tops, his sneakers. Talk about great marketing there. Goes to SneakerCon, broke the internet that day, and people are still talking about it. How can I get my hands on these sneakers, or is he going to come out with more? So he relates to all Americans. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, Trump is just amazing. He's a pro at what he does. He's great at what he does. Wonderful businessman, which is why he's in the position he's in right now. Okay, you talked about what your thoughts would be for maybe coasting through April. A lot of talk too, Brian, about a rally in New York.
I have heard from various sources that they are looking at doing a rally in the Bronx there, in Madison Square Garden. Now, your first reaction would be, why? Why New York? New York, predominantly a blue state, right? Well, maybe not. Since the Biden administration, I can't confirm there's going to be one, but I have heard information about Madison Square Garden. Because, and I heard a particular date because Biden is scheduled to be in New York about the same day. So this would be a great kind of counterpunch to Biden showing up. We've all seen those videos on the internet about the inner city and especially between the black community and Hispanic community. They're over President Trump. So the inner city is turning against the Biden administration. I think the timing of a Madison Square Garden rally is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Will it be huge? Absolutely yes. Will it be a media frenzy? Absolutely yes. Will my butt be there covering it? Absolutely yes. Because I think it would be a historic rally.
Absolutely.
Yes. I think I'd probably have about a 6-camera shoot there because it's so big. We'd have cameras everywhere. But yes, I think it would be massively popular, and I think they would sell it out. That's my.
Tiểu bang Tennessee nó có 58 cử tri đoàn. Tổng thống Trump là 74.8% và Nikki Haley 21.8%. Cái phiếu được đếm là 31.2%. Cách rất là xa. Tổng thống Trump ông sẽ đi ra nói chuyện đó. Bây giờ đến tiểu bang Arkansas, nó có 40 cử tri đoàn, tổng thống Trump là 69.7, bà Nikki Haley là 24.7. Bà này bà Sanders là thống đốc của cái tiểu bang này nè, và bà cũng từng là phát ngôn nhân của ông Trump ở tòa Bạch Cung. Người ta dự đoán bà cũng có trong một cái danh sách để làm phó tổng thống. Tuy nhiên cái cuộc phỏng vấn 2 tuần trước bà nói là bà sẽ không có ra cùng mà liên danh cho tổng thống Trump, thì bà đang ưa thích cái ghế, bà đã rất là thích làm cái ghế thống đốc tiểu bang Arkansas. Tiểu bang Vermont 17 cử tri đoàn, tổng thống Trump là 49.6, và Nikki Haley là 46.7, vì bà tuột xuống rồi. Cái số phiếu được đến là 77.4%. Hồi nãy bà 47 vì bà xuống 46.
The opportunity for Kari Lake to really take up some ground there. I love looking at these boards. It says, Trump takes Arkansas.
Tiểu bang Arizona đó, bà Christie Sinema, bà ta đã rút ra không có tranh cử cái ghế thượng nghị sĩ nữa, chỉ còn có một người đảng Cộng hòa là bà Kari Lake, cũng như một người dân biểu của đảng Dân Chủ thôi, chỉ còn có 2 người à.
Big surprise there. The only one I think that was close, and maybe guys can let me know that, I'll kind of look for that, was Vermont. I think Vermont was relatively close. Trump wins Massachusetts as well on that. You've got some of these states, obviously. Trump is dominating. Trump wins Minnesota as well. You just go down the list. He's going to go 15 for 15, 16 for 16 for the most part. You've got also Hawaii later on.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah, so you've got some other states in play next week as well. Also, Georgia as well.
Hawaii, yeah, Mississippi, yeah. Washington State as well.
Okay, now they're starting to move out the rope. Now, let me do a little play-by-play. I know you may not be able to see them unless we have our second camera over there. I don't know if you have not, but when they start putting out the rope, that's going to rope off the general area the lobby and where the media is, that is a good indication that something is imminent. Now, local time here is, what do you got, 9:58 here locally. This was slated to tentatively start at about 10:15, so it might get a little bit earlier after as well.
Real quick, Brian, I'm just getting word from the studio that Vermont stats right now, Trump at 49.6, Haley at 46.7. So that's about 70% of people estimated reporting, 70% of...
So Trump just edging out slightly in Vermont. I do think it's interesting, and it's a badge of honor, and I said this earlier, that President Trump did not win D.C.
Talk about it.
Let's crown Nikki Haley the queen of the swamp.
She is the queen of the swamp.
I have no problem with that.
She is the queen of where the snakes slither.
And basically, President Trump spent 0 time in D.C. as far as campaigning for that. So there's about 700,000 people that live in the D.C. area. For him to only get 676 votes, in my opinion, is a badge of honor. But it also, to be honest with you, you mean to tell me out of a population of 700,000 that he's only able to get 676 votes?
Something's not right.
That seems a little low.
A little fishy there in the swamp. It's a little fishy.
It's a little fishy. but in defense, Nikki Haley only got about 1,300 votes, so it wasn't like she, got a sizable votes. But that, you don't want to win D.C. That is one state you don't want to claim you won, because I don't anticipate, anything happening there.
Well, and it goes to what President Trump says.
Washington DC Chủ nhật tuần rồi nó bầu cư dân là khoảng 700.000 dân ở đó. Và Tổng thống Trump ông chỉ được có 600 mấy lá phiếu, còn bà Nikki Haley được 1.000 mấy phiếu.
In Washington, D.C. And so that goes to show you who's behind her and what's really going on here. And so it's the swamp. It's the heartbeat of the swamp. And so donors. Yep.
It's people. I mean, think about this for a second. There's money in running for office. Look, here's the deal. If I want to run and try to take out a big name Democrat right now that everyone hates, right? And we could just fill in the blank. Let's just do it. Let's just, for simplicity, if I want to run against Nancy Pelosi in California, right? I would go out and say, I'm going to run in I'm going to challenge Nancy Pelosi. Well, then I can go out and fundraise, Vanessa, against campaigning against Nancy Pelosi. Whether or not I really have any polling that suggests that I can actually win. So there's money in trying to take on somebody that the establishment hates. So it doesn't surprise me that the governor, Brian Kemp of Georgia, has encouraged Nikki Haley to stay in this race because there's money coming into her camp. He doesn't even hide it. He has literally said, as long as the money is there, you might as well stay in the race. Whether or not it's hurting the Republican Party by not being focused on taking out Joe Biden in November.
Right.
So I want everyone at home to think about that for a second. If there is no mathematical path to victory for Nikki Haley, then why is she still in the race? It's a major distraction. I think it's wrong that what's happening right now, and I think Nikki Haley and her campaign should be ashamed of what they're doing.
It's embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing. Quite honestly, the American people have made their decision. They have voiced their opinion. You look at these. Look at Iowa. Look at New Hampshire. Look at South Carolina. Look at Nevada. Look at what's happening tonight across the country. Like, they have made their mind up who they want to run this country, and for her to think that she has a better plan is ridiculous. And it's disingenuous to take somebody's money. I claim tomorrow is National I Want My Money Back because I donated to Nikki Haley.
You didn't, but that's the date. That's what you're calling the day. Yes.
I'm telling you right now, tomorrow should be the national day of I want a refund because I donated to Nikki Haley, and all these people, all the donor class donated to Nikki Haley. She got smoked on Super Tuesday. No real clear path to winning, but yet she took everybody's money. I would be furious.
Oh, absolutely.
If I was somebody
yeah, it's clear
donating
as day.
to
That's what she's doing. And also, can we also make it a Nikki Haley drops out of the race day because it's time? This is a clear blowout for President Trump, a grand slam for him on this Super Tuesday.
But she won't. She won't.
Drop
out. So
I think she
but
likes
you know what?
aggravating
But see,
us.
But let me tell you something. President Trump is not focused on Nikki Haley.
No.
He is focused on Joe Biden in the general
As
election.
it should be, because Nikki Haley is
Right.
old news.
Right.
She's just trying to stay relevant at this point.
I suggest, honestly, I wouldn't even bring up her name anymore. And I don't think he does. I mean, he really didn't bring up her name last night. It was only until I actually brought up his name that he even commented on Nikki Haley
And they
last
called her
night.
bird brain.
Called her bird brain. But the attention is not on the Republican primary. It's very much on beating Joe Biden.
Absolutely. We're just minutes away from President Trump coming out here to Mar-a-Lago, into this room packed with some of his top supporters in the Palm Beach area and also some surrogates and his family as well. Saw Dawn Jr. Here watching the results come in as we await for President Donald Trump. So far, a clean sweep on this Super Tuesday. He has won every state that has been called. Donald Trump making his way to the 1215 needed in votes to clinch the nomination for the Republican Party. And Brian, I think after looking at tonight and looking at the states that are voting next week, he's very, very, very close to getting that number. Also, Georgia's on deck. They're on the clock for next Tuesday. We'll be in Georgia on Saturday, Rome, Georgia. Let's talk about that area and how big of a Trump area. That is Trump country in Rome, Georgia.
It is the largest supporters of Trump. It's the largest county for Trump supporters in the state. If that tells you something, I'll say this, and I don't mind throwing this out there. If Herschel Walker would have campaigned more in District 14, he might be a senator in Georgia. That state will drag you across the finish line. I think this is going to be a huge rally. I anticipate it being one of the biggest we've ever done. It was one of the biggest we ever done last election when he was there. Massive people came out at the Rome airport. I was not there, but our cameras were. It's one of those situations where you have to basically, you have to look at this district as being just an unbelievable.
North Carolina nó có 74 cử tri đoàn. Tổng thống Trump được 74.7% và Nikki Haley được 22.5%. Cái số phiếu được đếm là 81% đã đếm.
I don't think that would be them.
It's hard to see.
Yeah.
It's a little dark, but you're right. I know our camera, James, is probably trying to get the best shot he can get.
No, not in this group right now, but he'll be out shortly. Our cameras are showing you the door. President Trump will be entering into this packed house
We got Susie Wiles in the pink. That she is a senior top advisor to President Trump, walking in right now. We've got Dan Scavino. We've got
Tổng thống Trump ông sắp sửa đi ra rồi đó. Có mấy người
very good indication that he's going to be close behind.
Rồi, ông ra đó, ông đang đi ra đó. Phải không biết thấy giống. Không phải. Các ông biểu Taylor Quinn đi.
Yes, Roger Stone just walking in.
Roger Stone cũng được.
Caroline Levitt.
Colorado có 37 cử tri đoàn. Tổng thống Trump được 61.2. Nikki Haley được 35.4. 80% số phiếu được đếm.
Follow us on social media. You can do that at Brian Glenn TV.
Quý vị còn nhớ Colorado là không cho tổng thống Trump lá phiếu nhưng mà bị thua rồi. Ngày hôm qua xử là đã thua rồi. Tổng thống Trump thắng.
Brian B-R-I-A-N. I'll be putting up some clips from the interview I did with President Trump last night. And I want to do a special thanks to everyone here at Right Side that came together for that effort. You know, I probably got 147,000 compliments on on that interview, and I've told them on every single time, it's not me, it's the production. They make you look good. Doing the interview with Trump is easy. Making it look good production-wise, sight, lights, audio, all the components that go together to putting a television production together is something completely different. So special thanks to our production team for absolutely putting together a solid, stellar night. And if you missed any of that, you can go to our Rumble page, go to our Facebook page, or YouTube page, and check it out. You can follow some clips on my social media as well.
Yes, and while you're there, you can also follow me. I'll have some behind-the-scenes clips from tonight, and show you what we're seeing here on the ground at the beautiful Mar-a-Lago. I already have some pictures up from today when we arrived. And I think no matter if it's raining or shining, Brian, it's always a beautiful day at Mar-a-Lago. You can't go wrong here.
Well, a couple of days ago, it was raining pretty hard.
Yeah, it was still beautiful here.
Yeah, it was still nice. You know, this is the time of year, and we'll I'll kind of weather geek out on you if you're here for a second. This is the season down here. This is when the temperatures are tolerable. But I've been told in about a month, April, May, that will soon change, and the humidity will come back, and this place will quite honestly get, very muggy and humid. But this time of year, Vanessa, it feels pretty good. Now, you do get that occasional springtime pop-up shower that South Florida and this area is used to having during the summertime. But, hey, when the sun's out, it's beautiful. And, of course, right now the water is beautiful here. It's warm. It's just only going to get warmer as the summer months go by. So, hey, I highly suggest if you want to take a trip down to South Florida before it gets nice and hot, do it right now while it's remotely tolerable.
Absolutely. Now is the time. You're looking at live pictures as we await. Here comes Jason Miller.
And Jason.
Looks like Eric and
Laura Trump.
Yep, Eric and Laura are walking in.
This is very much red carpet coverage here.
Absolutely. They need to have a gold carpet at Mar-a-Lago.
Why not? Why not? It looks like we have Boris Epstein, Chris Lasavita, senior Trump advisor, Boris Epstein, head of the legal attorney, Brian Jack, coming in as well. So we got, everyone's taking their seats here.
Everyone's taking their seats. Hey, real quick, while we wait for President Trump, I want to talk to you about a decision desk exit poll that just came out for RSBN. The Republican voters' top issues. Again, this is an exit poll that just came out. The top issues from Republican voters show that 44% is immigration, 28% is the economy. So big numbers there on illegal immigration.
Well, it's one of the polls that was really interesting to me was if you're optimistic about the economy, and if you look at the small business index, and that tells you whether or not people that own small businesses are optimistic about it reinvesting in their companies, you'll find that that's very low right now because under the Biden administration, they don't want to reinvest in their companies. They don't want to grow their companies because they don't know where Joe Biden is basically, going to take this country. Now, under a Trump administration, you definitely know that President Trump is very much pro-small business, very much pro-build here in America, keep it here in America. And so, consumer, I think consumer optimism rises, and so does production and small business optimism. They all going to become very positive and optimistic. So that is one thing to look at, because at the end of the day, companies have got to have confidence that they can grow their companies and have a prosperous business environment. Tax breaks, and I will remind everybody right now, we don't get President Trump in the office. Let me tell you what's going to happen, and we don't also have the majority in the House. Whoever's in charge of Congress, January of 2025, will be in control of the tax codes. So these President Trump tax codes that have been so advantageous to preserving wealth and keeping your money, those will expire in January of 2025. So it's imperative that not only does President Trump win the presidency, but then we keep the House and we take over the majority in the Senate. If we have the House, Senate, and the presidency, and we put the right people in place, I can absolutely tell you right now, we will have a prosperous 4 more years on that. So that's why every seat matters. And you look at what Republicans did to George Santos a few months ago by kicking him out of his seat there in New York, and it was replaced by a Democrat, is the dumbest things that Republicans have done. Why do we attack our own party? Why do we want to kick out people in our own party? Is beyond me.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I think I can see President Trump walking up right now, Brian, by himself. The Secret Service all around him on the side, but he is here. We're going to let you listen in as the crowd. They haven't seen him yet, so when they do, it's going to erupt. Stand by for that.
Let's just listen in. We're going to get to probably the voice here in just a few minutes.
Rồi, Tổng thống Trump cũng ra đó.
Well, thank you very much. They call it Super Tuesday for a reason. This is a big one. And they tell me, the pundits and otherwise, that there's never been one like this. There's never. An amazing night, an amazing day. It's been an incredible period of time in country's history. It's been sad in so many ways, but I think it's going to be inspiring because we're going to do something that, frankly, nobody's been able to do for a long time. We've watched our country take a great beating over the last 3 years, and nobody thought a thing like this would be possible. We wouldn't have Russia attacking Ukraine. We wouldn't have Israel being attacked. Iran, as you know, was broke. When I was running things, they were broke. They didn't have money for Hamas. They didn't have money for Hezbollah. We had no inflation. Inflation is destroying the middle class. It's destroying everything. Inflation, if you look back over the history, hundreds of years back, it's called inflation. It's called a country buster. And that's what it's doing to our country. What's happened with inflation has been unbelievable. A lot of people say, a lot of experts have said the stock market's the only thing that's doing well, and that's doing well because our poll numbers are so much higher than Joe Biden's. He's the worst president in the history of our country. There's never been anything like what's happening to our country. Today it was announced that 325,000 people were flown in from parts unknown. Migrants were flown in, airplane, not going through borders, not going through that great Texas barrier that I was with the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, the other day, and we were looking at the job they're doing. But in the meantime, they're pouring into California and they're pouring into Arizona because those governors aren't doing anything. They're doing nothing. But today it was just announced before I came out. It was unbelievable. I said, that must be a mistake. They flew 325,000 migrants, flew them in over the borders into our country. So that really tells you where they're coming from. They want open borders, and open borders are going to destroy our country. We need borders and we need free and fair elections, or we don't have a country. This is an incredible group of people. So many celebrities that I'm not going to introduce any because I'm just going to get myself in trouble if I do that, because I'll leave out most of you. But this is a room chock full of incredible, talented people, like some of the guys standing right in front of me, right? Big futures, big, fat, beautiful futures. Oh, I'd love to be your age. I'd pay you a lot of money to be your age. But we have some tremendously talented people in this room, including tremendously talented political people that have helped me right from the beginning. We had the safest border in the history of our country. We built 571 miles of wall. We had Mexico supply us with 28,000 soldiers because we wanted them, that's why. And they said, we won't do that. I said, yes, you will, you will. And in the end, they did. It was an easy negotiation, but we had the safest border, the best numbers we've ever had, and now we have the worst numbers probably in the history of the world. It's sad to see what's happening to our cities. Our cities are being overrun with migrant crime, and that's Biden migrant crime. But it's a new category of crime, and it's violent, where they'll stand in the middle of a street and have fistfights with police officers, and if they did that in their countries from where they came, they'd be killed instantly, instantly. They wouldn't do that. So the world is laughing at us. The world is taking advantage of us. 3 years ago, we were at a level, we were energy independent. We were going to be very shortly energy dominant, and today we're getting oil from Venezuela. Can you believe it? And we're doing numbers on that oil. You know what we're doing? We're refining the oil. We have our refinery for that oil. It's really, I call it tar. It's not oil. It's terrible. We have real stuff. But we're refining it in Houston. So for all of the environmentalists, you ought to look at that, because all of that tar is going right up into the atmosphere. You just ought to take a look. It's the only plant that can do it. We have the only plants that can take tar and make it into oil, and that's what it is. It's a shame. But we were energy independent. We were going to be energy dominant. We were going to be supplying oil to Europe, all over the world. And then a tragic thing happened during the election. It was a tragedy, because you wouldn't have, think of it, all of the problems that you have today, I don't think you would have had any of them. You'd only have success. And that's what's ultimately going to unify this country and unify this party. We have a great Republican Party with tremendous talent. And we want to have unity, and we're going to have unity, and it's going to happen very quickly. And I've been saying lately, success will bring unity to our country, and it happened before. We had the best economy our country's ever had, and people were calling me that I would have said will never happen. It'll never happen. They wanted to get together, African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, women, men, people with diplomas from the best schools in the world, and people that didn't graduate from high school. Every single group was doing better than ever before, and it was a beautiful thing. Our country was coming together. Our country was coming together. And now we have a very divided country. We have a country that a political person uses weaponization against his political opponent. Never happened here. It happens in other countries, but they're third world countries. And in some ways, we're a third world country. We're a third world country at our borders, and we're a third world country at our elections. And we have to stop that. We need a fair and free press. The press has not been fair, nor has it been free, but maybe someday they will be. They're being beaten up pretty badly. People aren't trusting them. They're not believing them. And really, it's a very important factor. The press used to be the policeman. It used to police our country. Now nobody has confidence in them, and we have to get that confidence back. It's so important for the success of our country. So important. So this has been a day that we've been waiting for. I want to thank my family for being here. It's a great family. I have a great family. They've had it very easy since I decided to run for politics. They say, thanks a lot, Dad. We appreciate it. But they're strong, and they're very capable people, and they love the country. They really do love the country, and we appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody at my staff. Susie, Chris, incredible job. Incredible job you're doing. I read an article yesterday where it said this is one of the finest run campaigns that anybody has ever seen. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. It's really a statement. And we have no choice because November 5th, it's right around the corner, November 5th is going to go down as the single most important day in the history of our country. We're going to take it and we're going to make it like it should be, respected. Right now, we're not respected. Right now, our country is known as a joke. It's a joke. Other leaders who I speak to, other leaders can't believe what happened to us. Because 3 years ago, we were the most respected country anywhere in the world by far. We were doing things that nobody could believe. China was paying us billions and billions of dollars. In 25 years, they paid us nothing, zero, not 10 cents. I was getting billions of dollars, and they were happy about it, as happy as you can be. Of course, maybe there's reasons for things having happened, but they were not so happy with certain things, I guess, based on things that took place. But we were getting along with everybody. We were getting along, and we were respected by everybody. We had no wars. Remember when I had the debate with Hillary Clinton? She said, look at him, look at that personality. He's going to cause wars. I said, no, my personality is going to keep us out of wars, and that's what happened. For 20 years, they were fighting ISIS. I defeated ISIS in 4 weeks. I got rid of ISIS 100%. 100% of the ISIS caliphate. And we had no wars, and we stopped wars. We weren't getting along with a lot of countries. All of a sudden, North Korea, which is a serious nuclear power, but North Korea came along. Kim Jong-un, we got along very well. We got along very well with China until COVID. That was a little bit too much, as far as I was concerned. That was too much. Couldn't take that one. But we made a trade deal with China that I don't even talk about. $50 billion a year in product they bought from our farmers, our manufacturers. They used to buy 10. I got 50, and it was great. But COVID, I don't even talk about that because COVID was such a horrible thing. It started in the Wuhan labs, just as I said, the Wuhan labs. And it came out, I believe, through incompetence. I believe it was incompetence. Some people think it wasn't, but I believe it was. But regardless, it caused $60 trillion worth of damage and death all over the world, all over the world. And we did a fantastic job on that. We never got credit for that. Unbelievable job on that. We came up with things that nobody thought was possible. Don't forget, when it came in, nobody had an idea what it was. They didn't even use the word pandemic. Nobody had an idea. But we did a fantastic job. And we got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for our foreign policy. I think credit like nobody, very few people have gotten. And the press was very honest about it. They give us very high marks on foreign policy, the Abraham Accords, so many different things we did. But we never got the kind of due that we should have for the COVID, or as I call it affectionately, the Chinese virus, the China virus, which is a much more accurate term. And despite that, the stock market, when we turned it over, the stock market was higher than it was prior to COVID coming in. It was an amazing thing. We did an amazing job, and we have so many people that worked on that, so many of the doctors, so many of the scientists that worked with us on that. It was really, really something. But there's never been an administration that had more success in so many different elements. We got the largest tax cuts in history. We have the largest regulation cuts in history. We rebuilt our military. And what happened, we rebuilt our entire military, and beautiful. We had jet fighters that were 53 years old, and we had all brand new jet fighters. And then after this other group of people that didn't know what they were doing. They took over, and we had that horrible surrender in Afghanistan. I call it a surrender. We took the soldiers out first. You know, I dealt with the leaders of the Taliban in Afghanistan. They were the ones that were causing the trouble. The press was very angry because they said, "Why are you calling them?" I said, "Because that's where the problem is." I say oftentimes, they asked Jesse James, "Jesse, why do you rob banks?" He said, "Because that's where the money is." And I said, that's where the problem is with the Taliban. And I spoke to Abdul. He's still the leader. Believe it or not, he's really the leader of Afghanistan, but he's the leader of the Taliban, a rough group. I say, don't ever shoot our soldiers again. Don't ever do it. Very interesting what happened is that, you know, we were having, during the Obama administration, previously, they were shooting a lot of our soldiers, and I let them know. I said, don't ever, ever let that happen. I said in a rather nasty fashion. We don't have to go into it tonight. For 18 months, we lost nobody in Afghanistan, and then we had that horrible, horrible withdrawal where we lost 13 soldiers, 38 horribly wounded, left Americans behind. You know, you have Americans right now still behind. Call them hostages if you like. It was a terrible moment. We left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful equipment behind, jets and tanks and everything you could think of, goggles, night goggles. They didn't used to fight. They're good fighters. They didn't used to fight at night, but now they do because they have goggles. They have better goggles than we have. So I just want to tell you that led to a lot of bad things, and now the worst things are happening. The things that are happening now are unthinkable, and they're unthinkable at the border. We have millions of people invading our country. This is an invasion. This is the worst invasion probably. We've never had anything like it. No country has ever had anything like it. The number today could be 15 million people, and they're coming from rough places and dangerous places. And we had that shut down. We had everything going so beautifully. When Joe Biden goes to the beach, because somebody on his staff thinks he looks very good in a bathing suit, until he can't get his feet out of the sand or lift the chair, which weighs about 9 ounces. Joe Biden, if he would have just left everything alone, he could have gone to the beach. He would have had a tremendous success at the border and elsewhere. So we're going to take back our country. We're going to make sure we are going to do it right. We're going to have the greatest economy ever in the history of our country. We're going to top what we did. We're going to become an energy center of the world. We were ready to become energy dominant, and they stopped that. They stopped that. But we're going to become energy dominant. We're going to pay off debt. We're going to do things that nobody thought was possible. You know, we hadn't done our second phase of the tax cuts. When we did the tax cuts, the Democrats fought us very hard. And now they say, well, I guess that was pretty good because we took in much more revenues after we cut taxes. And then we did all of those regulation cuts, and people were working, and everybody was happy, and we were all proud of our country. But we're going to win this election because we have no choice. If we lose the election, we're not going to have a country left. And we're going to do something. Thank you very much. We love you too. And we love our country. And we can't let this magnificent, some people call it an experiment. I don't call it an experiment. I just say this is a magnificent place, a magnificent country. And it's so sad to see how far it's come and gone. When you look at the depths of where it's gone, we can't let that happen. We're going to straighten it out. We're going to close our borders. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to get the inflation down. And we are going to make our country greater than ever before. And we're going to do it quickly. We're going to do it quickly. It's going to go fast. We have to get the criminals out. We have many, many criminals that have entered our country. We have people coming in from such bad places, and we're going to have to get them out. We have murderers that are being deposited into our country. We have drug dealers at the biggest and highest levels that are coming into our country. We have people coming into our country that just shouldn't be here, but many, and I say many, large percentages, they come in through the caravans, they come in many different ways. Now we find out again, they come in through airplanes, we'll send them in. This is crazy. But they come into our country, we're going to stop them. We're going to close our borders. We're going to have to deport a lot of people, a lot of bad people, because our countries can't live like this. Our cities are choking to death. Our states are dying, and frankly, our country is dying, and we're going to make America great again, greater than ever before. Thank you very much. It's been a big night. Thank you very much. Thank you.
State of Vermont right here. It's still too early to call. We have 87% of the vote in, but she's on top by 4 percentage points right now. Why do I bring this up? Because some people might say this is completely ridiculous. He's won all the other states. Because the question is, how long is Nikki Haley going to stay in. And if she stays in one, if she wins one state, she still has a lot of money. She sent some leadership teams to different states. So possibly she stays in, but it'd be really, really tough, guys, because when we look at all the states that voted tonight, again, Donald Trump winning 11 of them, Nikki Haley possibly winning Vermont, but we think the rest of the states tonight, the three others, likely to be Donald Trump wins. Guys, back to you.
All right, Tom Yamas, thank you, sir.
Well, coming up, we've mentioned it, but could those legal challenges for Donald Trump derail his campaign this fall? We will get into that, the legal calendar and the political one, right after this.
Hello, Moto.
One of my students landed multiple six-figure jobs in cybersecurity within just 90 days without a degree.
I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept. I'm interrupting this commercial to let you know you can get our 6-piece My Towels, regular $69.98, now only $29.98. Or you can save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels, made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Also, we have bath sheets, bath towels, washcloths, hand towels, and so much more. And the best part, with your promo code, your entire order shipped